Hello and welcome back to Talk It Up MTG. I'm Zoe,
I'm Rob.
and today we're going to be doing some deck techs, and we decided to go with a theme this time. We're doing some grave encounters with some graveyard decks.
Really? Is that what you really did right now, so?
You know, there are some grave encounters. So we're doing this commander deck tech. We each have a great different graveyard deck. They both we'll go over whatever. So, do you want to start with yours, or should I go ahead and hop in here?
I mean, we can start with mine, but I'm not gonna glance over the fact that you made that terrible pun, and I will never forgive you for that. Awful.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I don't blame you.
It's bad, and you should feel bad.
Uh,
All
but
right. Well, besides that, I guess we could start with my deck. Yeah.
yeah, that
So
sounds good.
I will tell you the reason why I wanted to do this um this one between us was because I knew that we would both come with two very different sides and aspects to Reanimator.
Yes.
Um, you and I went two different ways. Um, Mine is very much a self-reanimator deck using Gyrus, the Waker of Corpses. It costs X, a black, a red, and a green. It is a 3/3 Hydra. When it enters the battlefield, it comes in with however many +1/+1 counters on it, depending on how much you cast it. So even if you cast it for just the black, red, green, it will still be a 3/3.
Damn.
Yeah, that was the selling point, honestly, for this deck for me. Keeping
It's
it
kind
low.
of reminiscent. It's reminiscent of the old Commander 2013 commanders.
No, yeah, seriously, I really, um, I like that they kept it. They gave it the ability to still be powerful at like what's the Naya one that was
Oh,
messed up? Morath.
yeah, Marath. Oh my God, Marath was the fun one.
Yeah, the Will of the Wild. But
Oh boy.
this one's a
Yeah.
little bit different. It does use up the same counters, but it's only for itself on this one. It doesn't give all the extra stuff. But the second ability
Yeah.
is where it really shines. Because
Ooh.
whenever Gyrus attacks, you may exile target creature card with lesser power from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card that's tapped and attacking. Exile the token at the end
Ooh.
of combat.
So your deck is a kind of one and done kind of deal.
Yeah, it's very much a. I get. I have to really rely on what I'm putting into my graveyard more than how many. But it's very much. I've tried to make the deck a toolbox
Yeah.
a bit of everything in it. So, um, first thing I got to do is, of course, get cards into my graveyard.
Of course.
So I have stuff specifically designated to either mill from the top of my deck or to discard. Stuff like Grizzly Salvage, uh, Satyr Wayfinder, Glowspore Shaman. All three of those reveal like the top 5 cards, 4 to 5 cards, and I put one in my hand and then the rest in my graveyard. It's perfect.
Ooh.
Grizzly Salvage of the creature or land for 2 mana.
Damn.
It it's very much a. Now I want to ask you, Zoe. Like with your, I know we're going to get into your deck a little later,
Yeah.
but with your deck, are you looking to are you really looking to get stuff into your graveyard at all costs, like mine, or is it more of a controlled kill stuff and then?
It's more of like I kill my own stuff to put them in the graveyard, and then I kind of go from there and sort of gaining benefits from killing my own stuff as well as from them coming back. So as we're going to get into later, it has like different ETB effects and it has different whenever creatures die effects. So
Yeah, you. So yeah, you already can see a difference there in our decks just because mine is looking to exile all that stuff at the end of the turn. I am one and done.
yeah, no, for me, when we get into my deck, you'll see you guys will see that mine's a little bit more recursive. Like I don't keep them in the graveyard for that long, hopefully.
For sure. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, just talk a little bit. But yeah. I have stuff like another good one that actually really works for this deck is if we go down here to see the Unwritten from the Khans of Tarkir block. Yeah. This so see the Unwritten is 4 and 2 green. And I reveal the top 8 cards in my library. And I can put one onto the battlefield and then the rest of my graveyard. But if I have a Ferocious and I have a creature that's 4 or greater, I put 2 of those creatures onto the battlefield instead of 1.
And because I can see with your commander already, because it gets counters for how much mana you put into it, say someone kills it and then you got to pay that commander tax, well, it comes in as a 5/5, so you already have Ferocious right there.
Exactly.
Or even if you just want to pay the 1 as the X along with whatever mana to cast it the first time, there you go.
Exactly. It is very low costed potential. I love it. At 4 mana, and then it can attack that next turn. I can bring something back, and then I can see the Unwritten. And the value, I'm just getting so much stuff not only into my hand and onto the battlefield, but in my graveyard, I have anywhere between 5 to 7 cards, with 3 of them being creatures going to my graveyard at any one time. Just got to keep filtering.
Yep. So it's almost like a John's Delve deck in a way. Almost.
Yeah, honestly, more accurate, it would probably be a John Dredge deck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, damn.
No,
I got the Golgari in there, so.
I got where you were going. I understood.
Yeah, just because it's another kind of deck that does that one and done kind of thing. It puts whatever into the graveyard and then just spends it from there. But no, the Dredge would actually be a better fit for a comparison, especially because you got Grizzly Salvage and all that in there too. So.
Yeah, and I did have Golgari Grave Troll in this deck at one point. I had Golgari Thug. I had all the big dredge cards in the deck, but I'll be honest, I had taken them out to put into another deck I had built. That's the only reason they're not in here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this deck would be OP.
Just a tad. It already sounds kind of ridiculous.
It's all over the place. Well, I tried my best to give it plenty of win conditions. Because especially with this style of deck, you can kind of get lost in just doing your thing and not really like doing anything towards actual victory.
Yeah, like it's kind of like that's what I found was a big thing for me about trying to make a self-milled deck was that it's like I got so caught up in just milling myself with the deck list that I was like, wait, but what am I going to do with that though?
Yeah, I did try to keep the game winners in mind. Like, I do have another card I have in this deck is Emrakul the Promise End.
Oh boy.
Yeah. See, it's more in there just because I can typically get it down like turn 8, turn 9. Just because of how, just because of me naturally getting cards into my graveyard.
Yeah, and you're going to have a bunch of different type of cards in there anyway, so.
Why not? Admittedly, there have been times when the card's been stuck in my hand, and that, yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. I did add some, I added some discard just in case that did arise, but I mean, Smuggler's Copter, it's an immediate target, so
yeah,
that is one of those cards, by the way, just for the fans. Smuggler's Copter, if they're running it, it's never for good. It is sneaking in there for some kind of nonsense. It just so happens that this one throws 13/13s into the graveyard. Everything has its benefits.
My God.
Fun stuff.
This is what I like about your deck. You just throw whatever good stuff into the graveyard, but you get to use it anyway, depending on how big Gyrus is.
Exactly. I mean, it made deck, like my deck building. It really made me have fun with this one because, I mean, cards that you don't think would be really good, just so happen to be 2/2 sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Acidic Slime is just a 2/2, so
yep.
I can get it in immediately as soon as I throw it into the graveyard and
exactly
destroy a land or an artifact. It's typically a land. Not gonna pretend.
Yeah. No, I do not blame you for doing that with Acidic Slime. That's.
I know the type of man I
am. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna make you lag behind a turn if that's cool.
See, and that I didn't make it so it was too oppressive. I don't want to be the thing about this is that Gyrus, everybody knows that you're going to be to target it before it can reanimate anything. So I have to be able to move quickly in this deck.
Yeah.
I need more haste. That is actually something that I need to look into. I need either Lightning Greaves or I might add a Crashing Drawbridge. But I just need something to give more haste in this deck.
Yeah, that might be a good way to go about that. And that's actually something I might try to do with my deck when we get to it, just because of Whisper having an activated ability.
Yeah, it's just a tap ability, right?
It's a tap, sack 2.
Yeah. Even better. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get into that too. I want to.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. All right. but no, your deck really is like a toolbox, and I can definitely see where you pretty much have a response for everything almost.
Yeah, I wanted to make it so whenever a card went to my graveyard, there was always a chance that it could be still useful to me. And when it comes and with something like Gerard, Golgari Lichlord, everything getting pumped up, that's definitely one of the kill conditions in this deck is Gerard or Because every time Gyrus reanimates, Gerard can sacrifice that creature before um, before it gets exiled at the end of combat. I have to work fast in this day.
Yeah. Damn. Talk about lightning speed.
There's a lot of intricacies in this deck. Fun, like it doesn't seem like it would be much to the naked eye, but Gigantiform is a monster in this deck.
I've personally been stomped by this deck before, and Gigantiform has usually been the cause of my woes in a lot of those situations.
See, it already has a fan. For those of you that don't know what this enchantment does, because barely anyone plays it, it's a 5-mana aura. Enchanted creature is base power and toughness 8/8, and has trample. The last bit at the bottom doesn't really matter. You're never going to kick it. You can't have more than one of them in the deck.
Yeah, so it wouldn't even really work to kick it.
Yeah, so you couldn't get the other Gigantiforms, but you only need the one. Especially with Gyrus, it really rounds out Gyrus into being the creature that it's supposed to be, in my honest opinion.
I'm sad that he doesn't have trample.
Seriously, why do you not have trample?
You have green. You're Jund, for fuck's sake. Like
it makes more sense, and would have made it, honestly, at that point it would be a tier 1 deck, in my opinion.
Yeah, just because you would be getting a damage almost no matter what. You make Gyrus big, you put this on it, and then boom.
Yeah, like this makes Gyrus, even if you cast it as a 3/3, it's now swinging in as an 11/11 with trample.
Yeah, because for people who might be confused, even though it would get base power and toughness 8/8, the plus and plus one counters stay on it, so it would just get that boost from the plus and plus one counters. So it's 8 plus whatever counters it has, which is just awesome to me.
It's beautiful, and the only card I cannot grab in the deck at that point is Emrakul.
Yeah, straight up. Unless if you brought him in for 5, you could.
Yeah, even better. Which again, this is super low opportunity cost for such a potential powerhouse in Gyrus. That's what definitely made this deck pop out to me, and I really liked the potential that it has, because it can do damn near anything it wants to do once it starts getting its combo set up, and it can start pumping creatures into the graveyard. Whip of Erebos, great for reanimating. It does literally the same thing that Gyrus does, only for any creature.
Yep.
At any cost. And they all have lifelink.
Oh. So you get a little bit of a life gain with your aggro. I love it.
Well, yeah, this deck, it doesn't really have much as far as life gain goes. That's the downside of it. Is that besides this and Ikra Shadiki, I actually don't think there's any other life. Well, okay, Verdant Sun's Avatar. But yeah, I can't see any other life gain in the deck, really, that I can think of. Planeswise Celebration, I always just think of proliferating with it 4 times, so. Planeswise Celebration.
Because why not, right?
Yeah. You get to do it 4 times? Are you kidding me?
I mean, damn. Just sure. I'll keep adding counters to Gyrus. Just let me do it, bruh.
All the counters.
God. I keep laughing with this deck because as much as I've gotten stomped down by it, it really does seem like a fun deck to put together in Pilot. Like,
Thank you. It's honestly been. It has shown itself time and time again to be as good as I had advertised it. I keep adding, like, even the stuff that I add to the deck. It doesn't really need to add anything much more. Just because it is very efficient and very fast. And I can get pretty much anything I need in the deck. I have a lot of tutors in the deck. I only have a few tutors. Diabolic Tutor is one.
the classic.
But the one that really does work is the DC Undead Vizier.
And that's what I need from my deck.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you're running Black Sacrifice, it is just that good. 5 mana, Death Touch, 4/6. It's a zombie too, if you need that. It has Exploit, and then whenever you exploit a creature with it, you may search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library.
Boom. And it can even exploit itself because exploit is an awesome effect like that.
And then even doper, Gyrus can then bring it back so it can exploit itself again.
And it's a 4/6, so when it's swinging in with that copy, it's still doing work.
Yeah, a 4/6 Death Touch isn't like dying from everything.
Yeah,
it can definitely hold us up.
That really.
I definitely, it's shown itself to be invaluable. As has Get Rock Monster, another Death Toucher.
Oh boy.
I honestly, I just pulled this one out just because, I mean, it's Get Rock.
Yeah, it's because I mean, fucking Get Rock, man. It helps with your mana excel because of course it does, and it helps with it helps with card draw because of course it does. It's just like, oh my god.
How many things can you do at once? It gives me the lands, it gives me the draw. At 5 mana, it's a 6/6, so doesn't work as intuitively with Gyrus, but I can definitely get 6.
Yeah.
And when I do, it is fantastic. There are a lot of creatures that I have in the deck that are good to have just on the battlefield versus having in the graveyard. But the ones that are like that, I had to make sure that they were like super, that they would impact the board when they would, if I were to just cast it.
Oh, absolutely, because if you're going to have them on the board, if it's something where it would be good on the board or in the graveyard, then why keep it on the board? You can just put it in the graveyard at that point, And plus, you gotta have more on the battlefield than Gyrus.
Yeah, and this is the problem with the deck. This is the part that makes it hard. It's just that those tokens do exile themselves at the end of turn.
Yeah.
At one point, I was legit thinking of adding Sundial of the Infinite to the deck.
Oh.
Actually, thinking about it again.
Oh boy.
I mean, a good tip, if you need something, just end the turn if you want to keep it around. Gyrus, Sundial of the Infinite, Glorious End does the same thing. I'm going to figure out a way to build that deck too. Something with a Sundial. But Yeah, this is a deck that I've had now for about 2 years or so, and it's definitely it's been through a little bit of fine tuning, but I'm comfortable with where it's at now. The instants and sorceries that I have in it are solid. Um, Fury Storm is actually really good late game. The land base is the one thing I would say, just because I would prefer to have a what's his face in there, the fetch lands.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, other than that, the land base is solid. Um, Lots of removal, lots of land removal too.
God.
And I will post a link in the bio to the deck list as well. And hey Zoe, I kind of want you to set up a send me the. Well, I guess I already have the deck list, but I'm gonna set it up for on MTG Goldfish.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and send you whatever later.
yeah, just so we can like have it on there for people to go access and build if they want.
There you go. You can check, and by the time this video comes up, we'll probably have those decks on MTG Goldfish. So links in the bio. You can check them out and see if you want to tweak them a bit, or if you just want to say they're trash. I don't know. It's your choice.
Yeah. If you choose to shit on my deck, I totally understand it. Fine.
even the same with mine. Like, we're not competitive players, okay? We just like having fun.
Yes, I'm making do with the cards that I have.
Yeah, that's very much a thing for me right now too.
If you guys would like to help us with this endeavor, um, please send all donations um, to my Zelle or through PayPal. we are both very broke. I will make sure to split the money with Zoe. We will be good.
Yeah, we'll be able to finally buy those fetch lands we always wanted.
Get paid.
So, is there anything else you want to say about your deck before we switch it over?
Yeah, honestly, just final thoughts on just the deck itself. As I said, it's very much a combo-y reanimator deck. So keep that in mind as you play, that you are looking to get to that point where you can steamroll. If you can't get there, though, I won't lie, it's going to be a struggle for you. You're going to have to just keep in mind that with all this reanimator, you got to make sure you can bring it all back.
Yes, that's always a very important tenet with these kinds of decks. Is you got to make sure to have a way to bring stuff back, or do whatever you can with them in the graveyard.
Yeah, try your best to keep the value train going, because once it has had a moment or two when it's crapped out. If you would like a good addition to the deck, again, add those dredgers back into it. Honestly, other than that, it's pretty efficient at getting cards into your graveyard. So the dredge will just add to it. If you can figure out a way,
definitely.
Yeah. If you can figure out a way to make people lose life equal to that, to the stuff that you put in your graveyard, also very good for this deck. Honestly, just make it dredge and you'll have fun.
Yeah, that probably would be the biggest way to make the deck even more efficient than it already is.
Definitely one of my more fun decks. And well, you know we both are home brewers, so this was
Yeah,
it always feels good to see a plan come together.
it all comes together.
What's up, the 18?
And
All
then
right.
and then just for heads up for when we do other deck checks of some of our other decks eventually, Rob does have a couple of degenerate things here and there in his deck collection.
Oh, you don't worry. You guys will see all the fun. I'm
Yeah,
just
and
gonna.
I'll eventually build some of that degeneracy too. I'm not gonna lie.
I currently am sitting on 9 decks and additional 2 or 3 that I need to build. Well, actually, prior to this, I'll keep the screen share in here. Why not? But prior to this, I was building. I'm looking at deck lists and cards to build. Brokos, the Apex of Forever. Again, another Reanimator deck, but this one is going to be its own bit of terrible.
Yeah.
Just gotta circle that card, that word right there.
Yeah, just
Sexy
all
infect.
right.
All right, moving
All
right
right.
along.
So my commander for this episode of graveyard stuff, I was gonna say the pun again, but I don't want to. I chose to go
Terrible.
mono black. I chose to be mono black with Whisper, Blood Liturgist. And this deck has had a couple other commanders before this. The main one was Obnixilis Reignited, I think it's called, where that's the 6 costing 4/4. Whenever someone shuffles their deck, they sack something, they sack a creature. Whenever someone sacks a creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on them, and he's got flying and trample. That was the original commander, but this commander, I think you'll all agree once I get into what he does. Very, very interesting kind of reanimator. As we hinted at earlier, this is more about recurring what I put in my graveyard and getting the most out of ETB as well as whatever they die effect. But a Whisper Blood Liturgist is 3 and a black for a 2/2. It has the following activated ability. You tap him and sack 2 creatures. And I get to return target creature from my graveyard to the battlefield. Boom.
It's very straightforward.
I sack 2, get 1 back. And it's really fun. So the first thing, so this is mainly what's called an aristocrat deck, where I have creatures that sacrifice other creatures, and then I get value from it. Just to represent all of just to represent all of the aristocrats, we got Flesh Carver, which is probably my favorite one, just because, well, he's 2 and a black for a 2/2 with Intimidate. Ooh. You tap 1 and a black, sacrifice a creature, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on him, and then when he dies, you put an XX Black Horror token where X is his power.
Yeah, so it can grow quick. It does everything you want to do in Reanimator already.
Yep. And then I could sack him to just get whatever big thing out there, and then maybe play him again to sack more stuff, or maybe whatever I want to do with that. But I do have a good amount of the creature base, as well as some of the cards that are not creatures, are sack effects, including a couple of exploit creatures that are not CDC. I need to add CDC in here. Why don't I have CDC? That would be perfect. just a tutor on a stick is all I'm saying. So those sacking going on and recurring. We're going to get into the ETB Well, I don't have anything to represent the ETB stuff, but I do have. Well, I guess Massacre Girl is a good thing to represent all the ETB stuff.
I mean, Massacre Girl is just good to talk about, period.
Yeah, she deserves her own category because she does work. She's a board wipe on a stick, essentially, because she's 3/2 black for a 4/4 with Menace. When she enters the battlefield, every other creature gets -1/-1 until on the turn. Whatever creature dies this turn, you get each other creature other than her gets -1/-1.
It just keeps on stacking until everything's dead.
Yeah. So she gets the initial -1/-. I didn't realize this about her, but she gets the first -1/-1. Then each additional one she doesn't get hit by. That's
Oh,
no,
you
each
know
other.
what?
So she doesn't get hit by it at all. She just kills
Yeah,
everything else. Oh, okay, because it's each other creature gets -1/-1. That's awesome.
I was about to say, hold on. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
it's nasty. And then
So
now Master Your
if I'm,
Worm is also reprinted.
I need to get that in here.
I need it in
I,
every deck that has black in it.
I mean, Massacre Worm is just fun on its own. But yeah, Magic Girl is a good representation of the ETB effects. There's stuff like, I mean, not as bad as funny as this in the deck, but there are stuff where whenever they enter the battle, like there's a Fleshback Marauder, where every time it enters the battlefield, everybody stacks a creature, as well as a few other creatures that do that. There's, Pilgrim's Eye. Well, no, I don't have Pilgrim's Eye in this deck, but I do have. No, I don't have that either. I need to put those in here, damn it. Just to keep whatever mana going. But yeah, the ETB aspect of it is like I play it and then I sack it and then use Whisper to bring it back to do it again. But speaking of dying a lot, I got 2 cards here that represent the benefits from when they die, aside from the benefits from the sack engines themselves. So I got Zulaport Cutthroat, which is whenever it or another creature I control dies, each opponent loses a life, and I gain 1 life.
Yep, that's all the value you need for the deck. That any version of that card you can run.
Yeah, I got him. The other card that I'm mentioning here is Bastion of Remembrance, an enchantment that it puts out a soldier token, but whenever it has the same effect, whenever a creature I control dies, each opponent loses a life. I gain a life. I have Falcon Wrath Noble, I think it's called, where when it doesn't, it's not whenever each opponent loses 1 life. It's a singular opponent loses 1 life, and I gain a life. But yeah, it's just as long as I can keep killing my creatures by sacking them, I can keep hurting everybody.
Yeah, you just got to keep, and you have a lot of creatures that can come back from the graveyard. I'm seeing reassembling skeleton even in the list.
Yeah,
does not get enough love.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's 2 mana to just bring it back tapped, and all you really need to do with it is just keep sacking it. And as long as you have a lot of mana, that's really, Another thing about the deck is I like to wipe people's board, as we saw with Master Girl, but I also have another creature that represents that a little bit, Necroplasm.
Yes, Necroplasm, a classic card for me.
Yeah.
As far as Magic playing goes.
It's just funny. I get to the first plus supposed to encounter kill everything with CMC1, then CMC2, and then if I play my cards right, if I do whatever right though, I can sack it before it gets that 3rd counter, before it kills itself, and then bring it back using Whisper's effect or other effects that we're going to talk about in a sec, or I can just let it die and then bring it back that way. Either way, I can just keep killing things with Necroplasm. It's just a funny card. And then I can bring it back to my hand if I want by dredging it. So there you go.
Yeah, I was also gonna say, you do have a couple of dredgers I'm seeing in this deck list. Golgari Thug, Necroplasm. That dredge is broken in Commander, I will say.
It really is. Like, I might actually put a little bit more dredge or self-mill effects in this deck just to
for the lulz, bro. For the lulz.
Yep. So for anybody listening at home that wants to edit this deck list, put more dredge and self-mill, and it will definitely do work. But another board wipe, it's my favorite board wipe in the deck, is its Life's Finale.
Oh, yes.
Life's Finale. I mean,
clean
kill everything. Yeah, just kill everything, and then it's like, oh, look, it's the person that's been causing problems. Let me just take some of your creatures out of your deck and into your graveyard. Ha. I mean, unless you're a graveyard tech too, then no, I'm not going to do that.
Yes, that's the key. There's typically at the table though, not everybody's running Reanimator, so
Yeah.
you just have to find that blue red deck running that decided to run like Sprite Dragon or Goblin Electromancer. Just get rid of all that shit. It's done.
Yeah. No, I don't need that. I don't need that.
Need that negativity in my life.
No, I don't need you doing that, dude. How about I just put those in your graveyard from your deck? Just turn off your instant sorcery bullshit. So even with all the stacking I'm doing, I gotta have a way to recur some stuff outside of Whisper because people are gonna hate him right away as soon as they get the gist of what my deck is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sepulchral Primordial really is like if I do happen to come across another Reanimator, or because there are some stuff like I mentioned earlier, Fleshback Marauder and the board wipes. Where I'm killing everybody's creatures. So that's a good way to just make use of everybody's creatures from their graveyard.
Bring it back. They all hell. If you were looking to get into Jumpstart, which I think everyone should go ahead and just try and buy a little bit of it. It's actually a fun set.
Oh yeah.
But they did just reprint Shieldred.
Yeah, they reprinted that. They reprinted Reanimate. They reprinted Phyrexian Tower.
Yeah, you could definitely use all of that.
They pretty much reprinted the stuff that I would want to put in this deck that was too expensive.
And that's what's nice. They did bring down the price on Shieldred. Actually did drop a bit.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was good.
Another way that.
Oh yeah, from 21. My God. But another way I can make use of other people's creatures is with the Saga Eldest Reborn, because of course I run it.
Yeah, Eldest Reborn is just that good.
Everybody sacks a creature or planeswalker, everybody discards, and then I get to get a creature or planeswalker from a graveyard.
There's nothing but value. I swear, those sagas. This one at Elspeth Conqueror's deck.
Yeah,
they have proven themselves to me. I honestly was on the fence before about the idea of sagas to begin with. I'm like, okay, it's 3 effects and it's 3 turns and they're gone, but those 3 effects are extremely powerful.
Yeah, and it fits Nicol Bolas himself too. Just on theme. And then the last card is a simple one. It's a common, but it gets the job done. Macabre Waltz, or Macabre Waltz, however you pronounce it.
The classic. Bring the creature to your hand, correct?
So it's 1 in the black. I return up to 2 creatures from my graveyard to my hand. Then I discard a card.
Oh, I forgot about the discard part. That's fine, though. Yep. That's even better.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what makes it awesome in this deck. I mean, I have Dutiful Return, which is 4 mana to return 2 creatures from my graveyard to my hand without discarding. But the Macabre Waltz having the discard effect actually does help, like you said, because I can get back to whatever cards and then put a creature I want to use Whisper's effect on into my graveyard from my hand.
Yeah, hell, if you were looking for a way to get like even reassembling skeleton in the graveyard if need be, you can just bring that in for 2. If you can bring up Thopter Assembly is great because it does it for itself. So if you get so many tokens.
Yeah, exactly. It does that self-bouncing when you have – it's when there's no other Thopters, So you bring it back, you make those tokens. So I can sack those tokens and just, and just get the value from that, from my sack engines as well as from Whisper. And then I can use Macabre Waltz and other such – I think Macabre Waltz is the only one that makes me discard. But I can use Macabre Waltz to bring whatever back from my graveyard and then put Thopter Assembly in there, bring it back. and then bounce it back to my hand.
of life.
Just keep whatever going. I probably should put more discard effects in this deck too. Actually, um,
And I mean, looking at my deck, I was able to just having the physical list actually made me think of, oh, what could I add to this deck? So
yeah.
what do you think? What do you think you would personally want to look for if you were looking for additions to the deck?
Uh, Definitely the mono black stuff from Jumpstart that was reprinted,
Mm-hmm.
as well as some stuff from M21 that was reprinted slash whatever. But as far as like general stuff, like I mentioned earlier, more self milling effects probably to help put stuff in the graveyard. More maybe a couple more discard effects just to do whatever and maybe be able to have additional card draw from it, this or that. I mean, I have Sign in Blood, but I don't
You
want to do
always,
so much.
yeah, mind you, these decks were built. I I know mine. Like I've touched one or two cards on it, but other than that, the deck is maybe about a year and a half to 2 years old. I know you built Whisper about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I built it as Whisper a year and a half ago. I had it for as the old Obnixilis commander, and used bits and pieces from the 2014 Mono Black deck. So since then, and then as far as it being Whisper, it's been like a year and a half. So it's and then my thing with Whisper was for a minute, like I'm like, oh, I want to make it into this colors, I want to make it into that, but then I just ended up deciding, you know what, I'm just going to keep it mono black, and because that's just mono black. Like there's nothing like mono black aristocrats to me. It just has a certain feel to it, you know.
Yeah, and especially with Mono Black, we've gotten a lot more additions. Like I bring that up just because it is good to see where the deck is going,
Yeah.
and just with a few additions, I think. Well, this deck already is good. It totally has a future. You can do this
Oh
forever.
yeah.
Bolus's
Oh yeah. No, I
Citadel.
definitely. Oh yes.
Um, honestly, you just the value alone that you can get in a mono black deck is super powerful, and this goes for any deck builders listening. Whatever's going on,
Mm-hmm.
uh, never stop growing your decks.
Oh,
Never
never.
stop improving them.
Especially when you're doing it in a non-rotating format, like Eternal, or I guess they're called Eternal formats, like Commander, like Modern, whatever. Like if you have whatever decks and you keep building on top of them, it'll only get better from there.
Yep. You will improve not only as a player but as a deck builder.
Yeah, because then you'll get to see okay, like what to prioritize in certain kinds of decks, and to just kind of see what makes certain cards more powerful than others. And
And what makes your deck more powerful? That's the key. Where like
yeah,
you could have a super powerful card in something like let's say like a Shieldred.
hmm
Um, but even with Shieldred, it's still 7 mana. Um, like I keep going back to reassembling skeletons, first one I think of. But like Zulaport Cutthroat, Vampire Hexmage, Mortician Beetle, Cauldron Familiar, Viscera Seer, all of your best cards, like as far as reanimating and getting back, are all at 1 to 2 mana.
yep.
So you just gotta keep that in mind as you build a deck that mana cost doesn't matter as much as balance. And if you feel like your deck is balanced and powerful, you're doing just fine.
And I feel like as far as the mana cost is concerned, if you look at two cards, and one thing about Commander is redundancy is always nice. That's why I have all the sack engines I do in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that stuff's going into the graveyard one way or another.
Exactly. You always want to be able to have multiple options. I didn't see. Are you running Ashnod's Altar?
No, I'm not. That's another one I would like. Basically, just with this deck, it's mainly just getting more to improve it. It's mainly just getting the staples for Mono Black Aristocrats, really. Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Tower, maybe Shieldred at some point.
The new Erebos.
Yeah.
The new Erebos Blue carded.
Yeah.
But actually worked very well for this deck.
Yeah, no, I looked at him and I was immediately like, thank you. Like, we finally have an Erebos that will
yeah, something that gives
with what I want.
Yeah, it's nice card draw too.
Yeah, no, it really is. But just getting whatever staples really to help this deck out a little bit. But it already, much like your deck, it actually, even though it's mono black, does have a decent amount of consistency to it. And I mean, you've seen it in action. I'm able to put out whatever and be able to sack stuff pretty easily and get whatever benefit from it. I think the big thing, though, aside from getting more staples in this deck, is having a little bit better of a end game.
Yeah,
because I had a Dulaport in Cutthroat and effects like that, but I need to have stuff like that where I can use those effects to close out a game a bit better. As opposed to just killing everything. Well, okay, what do I do next now? What do I do now? Like,
there's plenty of game enders in black, especially, where you can do that.
No, there's definitely, especially just like killing everything and then maybe reanimating everything that died to my side and killing everybody with them.
Yeah, lots of you have plenty of reanimation options. If you want to look at something like even, if you did want to add in some combos, like, hell, if you want to add in Dark Deaths, you can even add that in since you're running Vampire Hexmage.
Oh, yeah.
That's an easy combo to include, is that and Thespian Stage, and you're good to go.
Oh my god, yeah. And then I do have one combo in the deck, and that's the now infamous cat combo in Standard, which is Cauldron Familiar with Witch's Oven.
Witch's Oven gives food. You can gain life, or you can just go infinite with Cauldron Familiar. Just however much mana, however many Cauldron Familiars you have, you'll be able to do it once every turn. Boom, 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 boom.
Yep, just get that ping in there. So that might be something I do to improve the win condition aspect of the deck. But yeah, it's really the major things: getting more staples and getting more win conditions in there are the main improvements I would put in here. It's a fun concept just to be able to put stuff out, be able to sack stuff, and then just also Dictate of Erebos for sure.
Oh, Dictate would be great. Yeah.
Because I'm sacking stuff. I make everybody else sack stuff. I already have Grave Betrayal, so.
Oh. Priest of Forgotten Gods, actually, I just thought about that, would also be very nice for here.
Yeah.
That also sacrifice 2 creatures, but that makes them sacrifice 1 too.
Ooh.
And one last thing, just because it seems like, well, this is where my degenerate mind goes.
Mm-hmm.
You're sacrificing all of these things. Look for token generators in black.
Yep. Like Grave Titan and the like.
Grave Titan works. what's that enchantment? I can't think of it now. Bitter Blossom would also work for this. But you can really have fun with those game enders. Since you're discarding and everything's going to the graveyard anyways, I wouldn't really be too worried about you having something like a Ulamog or Kozilek in your hand.
Oh.
Yeah, immediate. Just saying, putting it out there.
Discard one of those and then use Whisper to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't get the cast benefit, but I mean, they're freaking Eldrazi Titans.
You're milling them for 20. Not just milling, you're exiling them for 20.
I mean, yeah, that just
seems like fun. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it would be a lot of fun.
Again, I support degeneracy in all of its forms. So
yeah, I just got to bring myself to do that, whether it's with this deck or with whatever stuff I plan on building in the future. And right now I have 6 decks, 2 monocolor, 2 2-color, and 2 3-colors.
I think about it. I don't think I have any monocolor decks built right now.
Really? Not even the mono blue?
Did I do? Oh no, I guess I still have that deck. Yeah, okay, so I do have one. But
yeah,
I'm actually
like that's a fairy.
I'm actually going to be building Torbrand and actually probably a mono black commander as well, in either Ayara or Erebos, the Bleak-Hearted.
Yeah, like, and when I think about for my mono black, I've thought about, well, maybe I could change it to this commander, I could change it to that. But Whisper itself just has a fun interaction with the rest of mono black, and it's just kind of like I can't bring myself to do anything else with commander wise. It's just
you usually see it. You see it in the 99 a lot of black decks, but it is honestly from watching it an experience and getting knocked out and having my stuff killed. It's very efficient as a commander. I very much enjoy the deck.
Yeah. But yeah, I believe that about wraps it up for our deck techs of our reanimator / recursion decks. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yep, this is fun. I see now I'm looking at the deck. I actually want to change some stuff. We'll see what this becomes.
Yeah,
always
I'm
evolving.
kind of thinking about that with Whisper. I'm thinking about that with mine too. Like, I'm just excited to see what I can add to it now and make a wish list for it.
Make a wish. Kill me. All right, everybody. I'm going to end it on that terrible, terrible pun. So,
yes, the best way to end it.
Zoe approved. So, from Rob, again, I am at Forward Gaming, Forward MTG. Check out my YouTube. I'm going to start streaming 2-3 times a week. So, yeah, keep watch. I hope you'll be watching too, Zoe.
I'll try to tune in as much as possible on this. For me, I've been Zoe, and I don't really have anything right now. I'm going to be putting together some social media stuff under the name of Sir Magic, and then I will eventually have a YouTube channel as well. And I'll keep everybody posted on how that's going to go and what specifically that's going to be like. I know Sir Magic is going to be MTG related, but we'll just see specifically where that'll go. And I'll probably make a Twitter at some point.
I was thinking about doing that today. I haven't been on Twitter since at least 2010.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So
Don't
we'll see
worry,
how this turns.
it's still just as bad.
Oh boy. Yes, last minute shit talking on Twitter seems like a good place to end it.
Yeah, and you guys have a good day, night, or whenever you're listening to this. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, peace out, y'all. Have a good night.
Peace out.